25 years ago, an Israeli-allied militia group entered 2 Palestinian refugee camps in the suburbs of Beirut. By the time the militia left, 3 days later, hundreds, perhaps thousands of refugees were dead. The Sabra and Shatila massacres were carried out at the height of Lebanon's civil war by fighters from the Phalangist party. The militiamen from the mainly Maronite Christian group entered the camps claiming to be looking for members of the Palestinian Liberation Organization. But instead, the fighters started killing civilians using guns, knives and axes. At the same time, the Israeli army surrounded the camps and began shelling them. By the end of the attacks, hundreds of men, women and children were dead. Now, the number is disputed, ranging from 800 people to 2,000. Palestinians who survived Sabra and Shatila are still haunted by its memory, and a quarter of a century on, the terrible events of September 1982 still resonate through Lebanese life. As Zeina Khodr explains.
It stole the best years of my life, and I didn't grow up like a normal child. The words of a survivor of one of the massacres during the Lebanese Civil War. For Nawal, the loss of her sister Amal, her cousin Aida, as well as her parents, is still painfully hard to comprehend. She was 6 years old at the time of the killings at the Sabra and Shatila refugee camps, but survived along with her brother. Years later, Nawal still asks what the future holds for Lebanon's Palestinians. I don't think the Lebanese authorities want the camps any longer, she told us. It has become a problem for them after Nahr el-Bared, and I don't think they will ever rebuild that camp. Nahr el-Bared, one of the 12 Palestinian camps in Lebanon, was completely destroyed after the Lebanese army battled fighters of the Fatah al-Islam group. The more than 30,000 Palestinians who used to live there didn't support the group, but many feel their community paid the price.
Nahr el-Bared was not the first camp that was destroyed. 3 were destroyed during the Civil War, and they were never rebuilt. It has been one catastrophe after the other for Palestinians.
Abu Jamal was 10 when he fled Palestine in 1948, and since arriving in Lebanon, he has been displaced 3 times. The 69-year-old lost 2 sons in the massacre. These narrow alleyways of the camps were littered with dead and mutilated bodies. The killings were carried out by Lebanese militiamen who were allied to Israeli forces, who had encircled the camps during the siege of Beirut in 1982. At least 800 Palestinians and Lebanese civilians died.
Many of the victims were buried here in this mass grave. The massacre was one of the blackest chapters in the history of the Palestinians, and its 25th anniversary comes at a crucial point in Lebanese-Palestinian relations.
The roughly 400,000 Palestinians living in Lebanon have few rights and are prevented from working in many professions. It's government policy to prevent their naturalization, since that would upset the sectarian balance on which Lebanon is run. But the crisis at Nahr el-Bared has brought the issue of improving their conditions to the fore to prevent groups like Fatah al-Islam gaining ground in the camps. Palestinians hope their lives will change for the better. For now, however, Nawal is remembering the darkest hours in her life and asks why no one has been punished for the killings. Zeina Khodr, Al Jazeera, Beirut.